women that go to Africa just to have multiple sex with multiple partners, what they call black bread. There's a whole group of Caucasian girls that's out here being gangbanged by hundreds of different white men. Look it up online, I ain't bugging. It's called being black bread, where they want to breed the white man out. They said, these white women saying that the black man is a superior race, he's gonna outlast everybody else, so we want to get the head start on it. Again, it's a double-edged sword.
This is called black bread?
Yeah, they're calling it, you're being black bread. Look up online, you'll see it.
Wow.
And in that, there's a whole Caucasian women that's doing that. That's why you see so many Caucasian people with melanated babies, or so-called mulatto babies. But these babies are not being given the true knowledge of they self. So what's happening is you incarnate in these people with melanin, with the mind state of a white supremacist. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna create a whole nother race now in which those of us that's so-called traditionally black, right? Now we're gonna have to contend with the light-skinned progeny that's been made to purposely try to re-educate or redistribute us off the planet. It'll never happen because Allah is the best planner, and nothing that is done in the dark is stay in the dark. It always comes to the light, and regardless of who or what, it's predicted that all of these people gonna fall. It's predicted that anybody that's helping them is gonna fall. So all of this folly you've been seeing in the conscious community, all these people banging on each other and cursing each other out and disrespecting women and disrespecting each other. Meanwhile, all these niggas is friends behind the scenes, going to ritual orgies, going to Freemasonic lodges together, and giving you consciousness and telling you, on one hand telling you that you God, on the other hand telling you that you a monkey, and they don't want to have nothing to do with black people. Fuck everybody in the ghetto. These are your leaders. This is the new crop now they want to use to replace the entertainers. Harry Belafonte, all of them old boule dudes, they did what they felt they could do, but they wasn't doing enough because they felt that they couldn't move ahead with a black woman on their arm. The same way you got it now. So when we look at somebody like Meghan Markle, you gotta understand, black people want to claim her now, but her first husband was Caucasian. Y'all ain't know that? She don't do it. Look at the TV show Suits. They had her have sex almost with a white man almost in every show. Look at the movies that come out. All of the movies that come out, it's always a black woman with white men. Look at Wrinkle in Time. It's a little black mulatto girl trying to save her white father, who's banished into eternity because of all of the negative experiments he did. Who that sound like? They're trying to get you to trick them. They're trying to trick you into give them another 600 years of life. And you people that want to do that, do that. But it's already predicted that a time is going to come where there's going to be a distancing. And the kingdom of the devil going to exist, and the kingdom of the righteous going to exist. But the only way we can get there is to get there now in the mind. Because the mind's eye is eternal. We only here for a second. This is a millisecond even. This is not even a true vetted reality. This is a simulation. We are actually on the other side of this consciousness, projecting ourselves as light beings to inspire those of us that are first round humans. Meaning those of us that were here before everybody. And the only people that was here before everybody was us. And I'm not talking about us from the Lucy monkey. That's another trick, making you believe that the black woman is a monkey, right? And that she is the oldest fossils they found of this so-called hominid, when really the Orang Pendek, or the Mongol boy, or the Mongol man, or the what's the other one? The UN monkey, the Orang Pendek monkey. This is their ancestors. Darwin told you that. So don't get mad at me. That's what he told y'all, and y'all based a whole society on that, and then tried to create a whole system called eugenics to get me to devalue myself, to make me think that my carbon-rich skin is somehow inferior to this pale aspect. When one cannot exist from another, you can never get a black crayon from a white one. Like, what are these niggas, what are they thinking? But again, it has nothing to even do with color anymore. It's consciousness. I know some people that are blacker than so-called dark skin, almost blacker than midnight. They got the whitest mind you could ever find. And then I know some Caucasian light-skinned people that's ready to get it popping on the Tamahu right now. So who's more advanced? Those of us that choose to be. So when Kanye say slavery is a choice, it may be a choice today, but when we really get into the etymology of it, we can never be slaves because we are not Slovenians. The only people who were enslaved on earth were Slovenians from the place called Slovakia, who were the ancient descendants of the Ashkenazi who came out of the 6 hills of the Caucasus, that the Moors went in and found that the males were not able to reproduce because they were having sex with each other and interbreeding, but the females were tend to do that. So they took the females and sequestered them. That's why when you look at a lot of the old pictures that you see of the Moors in antiquity, you'll see them in harems with all these white women.
Right. Oh,
because they were using them to basically create the mutated races that we in here now. Because the Moors were falling out with themselves so much that they needed a way out. But when I say Moors, I'm not just talking about people from the empire. I'm talking about any melanated person who was dealing with a high form of science with the knowledge of I self-law and master. So the Moors was the Dogons, the Mali, the old Songhai Empire, the Moros in the Philippines, the Champas, the Nagas, all of that was us and is still us. We are still those people today. The only reason why you can't benefit from what your ancestors left you globally is because you've agreed to a contract that you are an inferior being. And it has nothing to do with anything that they telling you it is. We will never move forward if we are using colorable titles to describe ourselves, period. So you don't have to be some people like, oh, I want to be a Moor, but I don't want to be I don't want to wear no fez, I don't want to wear no turban. Okay, but you quick to put on a dress, you quick to put on lipstick for a check. You know what I'm saying? You quick to disrespect your brother, you quick to disrespect your sister, you quick to do a quick YouTube tape instead of calling a person on the phone and speaking to them like a man or a woman. This whole culture has become effeminized to the point where men don't speak up for themselves, where men act like women, and now the women got to act like men. And guess what? The woman, especially the original woman, she don't want to do that. In my heart of hearts, I still believe that the original woman, original so-called black woman, love us. She do. But we have been in such a disenfranchisement with each other that we are blaming each other, when really the culprit is right here. Look at this devil. There he go. There he go. Are they going to come down and break this down? No. Do you understand that George Washington had slaves? So if you breaking down the Confederate statues, you need to get rid of him too. Because the Union wasn't no better. You do what I'm saying? The Union, these people wasn't no better. And nobody even cared who he is. But because he was a master mason, you see him standing with the right foot in front, right? With the right on the left at the 90-degree angle. He's showing you that he was a part of the Union society of the Magna Carta that worked to establish a superior so-called white race that they could use to displace all of the original people. Right now, as we was walking up this hill right here, back in the ancient times, this whole thing was mounded out. We fought one of the biggest wars in the old empire right here in Prospect Park. That's why they have the 4 corners on it. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the top, they got the eagle. The eagle is symbolic to the Scorpio. Whenever you see an eagle, you also see a scorpion. And we also know that the scorpion represent that which is deadly to the touch, right? Over here, we got the Grand Union, the Grand Army, right? These are all of the people that fought for the freedom of Caucasian people on behalf to negate the so-called Confederacy of the Moors. If we go in the front, you can see that. If we go into the front of the Brooklyn Museum, back in the day, is one of the first ones we did together, decoding the Brooklyn Museum, right? And we bust down the whole joint. Remember that? Yeah. We decoded the whole joint. And the whole joint show you the history of the Moorish Empire being broken, put into secret. But because we are at a so-called disadvantage, we don't generally understand the position that we're in. And the position we're in is we were never slaves. We are prisoners of war. And the war was to take our land and put us under a subordinate position. In regards to how many liberals and Democrats is out here that want to advocate for your rights, they do not want to advocate it to the point that you are back on top. Don't ever think that. Don't ever think that they will ever support you to the point that you will be where you are. There are going to be certain aspects of them. I know a lot of so-called, you know how they say the tip of, I know a lot of good white folk, right? I know some of them. And some of them is ready to bang harder on their own people than our people. But I'm not going to put them above us. But at the same time, I'm not going to cast them to the back, because some of them is ready to get busy quicker than, again, our own people. Why? Because our own people believe the lie about themselves. They believe that they were slaves from a place that they could never be deported back to. And regardless to who or what, until you can show me a slave, B.O.B. quoted me, and then it became a viral thing, and then they acted like it started with him. But I'm the first one that said, how is it that I could show you a dinosaur bone from 250 million years ago, but you can't show me a slave ship from 250 years ago? Even the dinosaur bones that they show you is fabricated. It's not real. You know why? Because a fossil is something that is imprinted into the ground. So how if you, that's like me going into the beach and then imprinting my hand into the ground and then leaving it. And in 1,000 years, somebody see that hand. And then what they do is then they cut the hand out and then try to make a composite of what the person who put the hand in is. Is that a real fossil? No. That is fabricated. Anthropology is a myth. These are all pseudosciences based on eugenics. And they got Negroes going to school to get degrees in that. So that way when they come to somebody like me with all these degrees talking about, oh, well, I'm a degree in American history and this, and that. First thing I ask them, what's your nationality? Soon as they tell me, oh, well, I'm half this, get away from me. You can't even speak to me. I'm not even speaking to nobody that can't stand within their own too. Because if you are under the jurisdiction of somebody else, you can't stand up, which means you're not free. And only free people can be Americans. So if you want to be a corporate, occupational, human capital to the so-called United States as their citizen, that they have listed you under the Trading with the Enemy Act as an enemy combatant, the only way you cannot be that is to be an American. Because when you go into an American or a Moorish American, you have a treaty of peace and friendship that automatically now applies to you, and that is enforced by the supremacy clause of the Constitution. I know because I've taken it that far. And no other Moor, nobody can tell me what I've done. You understand what I'm saying? So you have Moors and all of that, and again, I'm not trying to beat my chest, but at the same time, you got to stand firm in what you know is true. And what I know is true is what I know because I went out and did it. I didn't wait for some Grand Sheik to give me something. I didn't wait for anybody to do that. When I was inspired by the Prophet Noble Jew Ali, and I read what he actually left, and I actually applied it to my time now, I actually received the benefits of it. And I'm not going to keep that to myself, but I'm also not going to take what we've been doing privately and just destroy it by throwing it in the public. That's why if you notice, the stuff that I'm doing, like concerning our badges and our paraphernalia and things like that, I'm not even bringing that to the forefront. Because you got people that's straight agents now, that's doing lectures, that's setting up courts with people, that's got pictures of them with George Bush on Air Force One. But then on this Facebook page, they got little pins on with Moorish Americans. But again, when you say that you're a Moor and I don't never see you in no habit, when you say that you're conscious and I don't never hear you talk about nothing that's dealing with your true ancestry, you ain't got to be so-called Moor or Moorish American or whatever. But just be aware enough to not negate one ancestor over the other. I'm not going to pick my voodoo ancestors over my Candomblé ancestors. I'm not going to pick my Kemite, my Egyptian ancestors over my Phoenician ancestors. I'm going to accept them all because they all in me now.
Indeed.
We are our ancestors' return. So again, man, if it's not for brothers like you that's actually out here bringing people the real knowledge without the debates, without the hatred, we have to learn to love instead of hate, man. We got to learn to big each other up instead of tearing each other down. That's why we're being picked off. That's why we got sisters that's missing. And instead of people, Kanye bringing awareness to that, he talking to you about how he getting money and how he better than you niggas and how he don't have identify with you and how now he was on opioids, so that's why he said that and this and that. Stop looking at fools to lead you. Stop looking at entertainers to give you anything but a show. Stop looking at pseudo-politicians that are boulayed out. Big up to Steve Coakley, because if it wasn't for him, bless the honor dead. Big up Francis Quest Wilson. Big up C. Freeman L. Big up, who's another one who passed? Khalid Muhammad. Big up Dr. Sabi. Big up Some of these people, some of our people never even heard of these people. You understand? So whose fault is that? They can remake history all they want. In 10 years, they can make you think that Eminem was Melly Mel. And you Negroes will believe it, because most of us is trying to bleach into them and then creating babies now that's born with no rhythm, born with no understanding who they are, that's not accepted by the black side, that's not accepted by the white side. So what they gonna do? They're gonna form their own thing and get rid of everybody else. So you better start to really tune yourself up mentally, spiritually, eternally, and understand that we are all works in progress, man. We are all individuals that are here to surpass this thing, and that we incarnated here to learn certain things so we don't have to reincarnate and do it again. So we can finally go to the higher octaves and then send the star forces down here to bring our people up at one time. But we cannot uplift fallen humanity if we laying on the floor with them. So again, man, thank you, Brother Rich, for having us out here. Thank you for putting on the event. Thank you for everybody from all over the world that was on the live stream, that's been hitting me all day. People been hitting me so much, I can't even pick my phone up. I gotta hit everybody back when I get back to Andalusia. Also, you wanna find the original name of the places that you live in and start referring to it as that. That's one of the first steps to get you out of the jurisdiction. So right now, I'm always in the Empire of Morocco, or Al-Maghreb Al-Aqsa, which means the Morocco of the farthest west. But this part was called Brutium at one point. At another point, it was called Amsterdam. At one point, it was called Gothamum. At one point, it was called Londinium. You understand? Just like where I'm in the Florida Republic, that was New Spain. That was also, or is also, Andalusia. North Carolina is Tuscarora, which is Old Turkey. Get you an exotic map of the United States and look at what the original places was called. Every place that's in Europe and Africa and all that is right here. So again, man, this is why everybody in the world come here. You cannot be deported to somewhere where you don't come from. Stop going to these. I used to support 23andMe, dead that. Because once we started doing that, what is now happening is that these companies that's doing your DNA, you existed longer than them. So how they gonna tell you who you really are? And especially if they tell you that you sub-Saharan African, Native American, all of those are slave terms. So when you get that now, you know what else they doing? They taking your genetics and selling it to cloning farms, cloning centers. So right now they got algorithm versions of you. All of y'all that's going out there, you better do it. I know somebody on Facebook that just put a lien on Ancestry.com or something like that for doing just that. Because they found that they took their blood samples and stuff and was selling it to the black market.
Crazy, man.
So again, man, love yourself, love your people, love your woman, love your man, love your child. Stop focusing on the negative and build your higher self. The higher self is what we perceive as God, and that's the supreme being. So whether you believe in spirit or not, it don't matter. It believe in you. And it is giving you the choice as the Lord of this realm to believe in it or not. So when it says God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son to die for you, they not talking about Jesus Christ. They talking about the internal son in you, the real you that exists outside of this dimension, that has given this body here to act as a vessel to show everybody else what they can aspire to. So let's stop the bullshit, man. Let's get it together. Anybody want to holler at me, hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. Like I said, big up to all of the MST of A's, of course, the Eels and Bays and the Wills and Ways. Big up to the Empire. Long live the Empire. Big up to all of the original people in the conscious community and the newcomers. Welcome. Don't get caught up in the traps. Know what you see. Trust your gut. Follow your intuition. Man knows not for being told. Truth is aught. Allah is aught. And falsehood is naught. So again, man, love and light.
You got a website, my brother?
Yeah, hit me up. If you would like to check some of my material, you can go to www.aseertheducateers.com. You could also go to www.gumroad.com. Type in Aseer the Ducateers in the chat, and then all my classes and everything will come up. You can order them. They like some of them are 2 hours a piece, 4 hours a piece. I do online classes every Sunday from 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to holler at me about that, also if you want to holler at me about the Imperial Foreign Ministry, or anything that we're doing in terms of our indigenous government, you could do so. But again, we're not even taking membership or nothing right now because there's too much fake governments out here trying to get everybody involved with stuff that's not basically going to put them back in the trap. And again, man, the greatest leader you can follow is the heart, man, because Allah exists in the heart. And you have to reconcile what exists in your heart and your mind. Your mind will fool you. Your eyes will fool you, but your heart never will. So again, man, let's keep that muscle pumping and let's do what we got to do, man, to get free. Because we are already free. We just have to come out of the simulation. So again, man, big up to all the elders that came before me. Big up to all the elders that'll come after me. And anything that we could do to work, man, let's do it.
And on that note, I want to thank you, brother, for coming to town.
Peace, bro.
Thanks for showing love,
Peace,
doing
bro.
what you do. The people
Peace,
definitely loved it.
Islam.
Shout out to the people that came through with you. This brother, what's your name, brother?
It's Brother Tariq. It's one of our
Tariq,
muftis in the Imperial Farm Ministry, holding me down when I travel and stuff. So again, man, let's keep it moving. Let's really be productive. Let's open businesses, build communities, stop buying drugs, stop buying lean, start buying a block. Right now in every city in the country, there are blocks, whole blocks for sale for almost no money. The same money you would get to get that eighth to flip on the block and break off the wet, you could take that money and buy your whole block and then set up your whole thing. Big up to Rollo. The Moors, we got to go and get the brother out. That brother did a lot of good work. That brother brought up a whole project, a whole block. He had them singing, he had them praising and doing the Adhan every morning.
Yeah.
You understand? So they'll roll on him, but niggas like Kanye and Gay-Z and the rest of these niggas is out here all working with impunity. Because again, the devil will support its own until you need to be sacrificed. Don't believe me? Look at Bill Cosby.
And on that note, we signing out, family. Peace.
Peace.
Black magic, God, Holy Ghost, Lord, orgasmic, order more acid, more than 4 tablets, portal door passage, born before mortal war happened. We were lords way before we were poor black men. Now we like Catherine, only having 4 Jacksons. Sword of pure magic, slaughter 4 dragons. Heat like corduroy fabric, door-to-door tactics. Easy like tortoise on boarded floor backspins. Rapping like the man that created it, and I just play with it. Shine radiant, raising it, sunbathing it. Voice tone sharper than razor tip. When I aim it at megaliths, make them raise and lift. You can't relate to this, even if you paint a pic of me and you and somehow make the faces switch. I like to babysit, throne made of baby skin, donated by natives that procreate in sin. They gon' need to raise the rim, they gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain. Put the globe on my middle finger and made it spin. They gon' need to raise the rim, they gon' need a cage in that gymnasium. I play to win, Will Still Chamberlain.